Well, we got to start with Ty Simpson, man. Yesterday, Chris Lowe finalized the deal. Today's the deadline for the early entry in the NFL draft, and Ty tells Chris Lowe, look, I got my handprints, my cleat prints there at Denny Chimes. If I took one of these offers, I'd be just the guy who took the money and then went to the NFL. He didn't want to do that. And Chris confirmed that Miami and Ole Miss were offering over $4 million, and it was Miami that was offering the $6.5 million. Man, when you see that, and, you know, we talked last week about Ty Simpson's place in Alabama football history. On the field, it's not going to be up there with some of the greats, but when you, in this day and age of people taking the money and running, and I know he's got a first-round NFL projection, but that just sort of moved a lot of people that he said, look, I want that Alabama legacy. I'm going to pass on this money grab here and go on and live out my dream and go to the NFL.
I hate to say this. Are there any Alabama people internally in the program that didn't want him back? Because, like, what was Alabama going to offer?
Not that much, I don't think. I wouldn't think. I don't know. It's a great question. The quote is, everybody would just remember me as the guy who took all this money and went to Miami or Tennessee for his last year. But I was a captain. I put my hand and footprints in the cement at Denny Chimes. I would have lost everything that I built at Alabama.
I don't know if he would have lost everything, but, I mean, he's got a legitimate point. I mean, that's the way I would have remembered him.
Yeah, I you know, when you don't think that attitude exists anymore in college football, and a lot of people don't think it does, and I will grant you it exists less than it used to.
Oh, it's rare.
It is rare.
It's more rare than it's ever been.
But it's encouraging to see that it still exists somewhere, that somewhere there's a college football player that's like, I'm not just going to take money. I built something here, and I want my legacy to live here.
Well, that will be his legacy now.
It will be.
Yeah, I agree, because you want, again, how rare it is, and it's going to get rarer.
And they just didn't do a whole lot on the football field with him as the starting quarterback. So his legacy will be his love for the program. His legacy will be, I did not transfer out. I stayed and I waited.
There's no way to measure this, but in years in the future, when he's got the bye week and he comes back and waves to the crowd, that cheer will be much louder than it would have been because of this one quote to Chris Lowe.
And we will use him as an example moving forward. If we ever see situations like that, that's a Ty Simpson situation. Now, again, I'm in the camp where I think he needs another year of school, and I would take the $6.5 million and I would come back. But I really do applaud the decision and the way he's going out, and
truthfully,
and hopefully he goes in the first round. I'm going to hate it for him if he slips to the second round.
I hope he goes and kills it with that kind of attitude. You want him to go and kill it.
And here's, and I shouldn't do this because a lot of the people I'm about to say this to are our customers, and I love them to death because I grew up one of them, and I wanted to be a sportscaster because I wanted to sit in the stands and watch Alabama football games. That's the main reason I wanted to be a sportscaster. I was 11 years old. We couldn't afford to go to games. We couldn't go to Alabama games. We couldn't even go to the Alabama Virginia Tech Legion Field games. Couldn't go. And that's why I wanted to be a sportscaster, because they got to go to the games. And it's still my favorite part, going to the games. There are people that when there's a big game in Tuscaloosa that will sell their tickets to a rival fan for money and then bitch about commitment to the team.
Boy, that is a great point.
But Ty Simpson just said the team is more than money. I'm going to turn down $6.5 million for my legacy at Alabama. Meanwhile, when Texas rolls to town or Georgia rolls to town, some of you are selling your tickets to make some money and not go cheer on your team, and then you're going to gripe about the players who you say don't love the program as much as you do, but you're selling your tickets, and here's a kid that's given up $6.5 million to go to the NFL.
Well, if he was 5'10", he's not necessarily giving up $6.5 million. I really wonder what his decision would be if he's 5'10".
Well, it's $6.5 million is what Miami was offering.
Yeah.
He said Miami. This is the rest of the quote from the Chris Lowe article. But
I'm just saying, if the NFL wasn't an option, I'd be really interested.
Oh yeah.
Does he stay at Alabama for $3 million, or does he take $6.5 million to go somewhere else?
Those are different hypotheticals. I can only deal with what Ty has done here.
Miami was kind of like, all right, we're moving on, and then they lost out on Sam Levitt and came back with that big number. He says that big number, which everyone is saying is the $6.5 million. I found this the most interesting part to me, though. Simpson goes on to say, and then Ole Miss called again and said they could match it.
Yeah.
I mean, Ole Miss is spending. They're giving out money like Halloween candy right now.
Hey,
and
later on, we'll talk about Josh Heupel, but Tennessee would probably go up to that number too because they're desperate for a quarterback.
Well, apparently Ole Miss is too. Yeah. I mean, if Ole Miss is telling Ty Simpson, we'll give you 6.5.
I guarantee you, Brendan Sorsby's like, damn, I signed too early.
Yeah, he may have.
He really did with the $5 million because a lot of people believe, I think it's him or Levitt, but a lot of people believe Sorsby is the best or was the best transfer portal quarterback.
So a lot of people in the chat are saying that this is the anti-Isaiah Bond. Isaiah Bond's name is getting brought up a lot in the chat.
A guy who, according to reports, had a deal worked out before Alabama went and played in the semifinal.
And the point people are making is not just taking a shot at Isaiah Bond because he left and went to Texas. The point people are making is Isaiah Bond was on the receiving end of one of the most famous plays in Alabama football history. Right. When Daniel Moore paints it, when it has a name, I mean, if I say Gravedigger, every single Alabama fan and Auburn fan, for that matter, knows what I'm talking about. Yeah. And you are on the receiving end of it. As people in the chat are saying, he could have eaten in the state of Alabama for a long time on that one play.
In my head, it's like the old EA Sports College Football when they didn't have the naming rights to the Madden.
Right.
Well, I guess it's the Madden game. When the EA Sports didn't have the Madden game, it's Jalen Milroe throwing to, what was his number, 17? Jalen Milroe throwing to number 17.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
They don't have the rights to his name.
It's like he quit existing.
Or it's a silhouette that's catching the ball.
And the point is, he went to Texas. I'm sure Texas paid him more than he would have made at Alabama. What did he get out of that? He got drafted very low. Now, there were some off-the-field issues that affected his draft status. He ended up playing in the NFL. He could have done all that at Alabama, too. Like, chasing the money sometimes isn't the best idea. I mean, it's easy to do. It's easy to chase the money. But there are times where you look back on it and say, was it worth X amount of dollars? Now, this is a lot of money right here. Like, to your point, I don't know if Ty Simpson were still playing college football and not declaring for the draft, which he maintains to Chris Lowe that he'll meet the deadline and declare. What was his value at Alabama? I don't know the answer to that question. I will take Ty at his word that he could have gotten 6.5 at apparently Miami and Ole Miss.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about last year. There was a lot of reports that, internally, a lot of people wanted Jalen Milroe out. Some people were going to allow Jalen Milroe to stay. It's just interesting. We don't know all of the things behind the scenes.
Right.
Now, with Ty, I would just assume they would want him to stay, but there was no way they were going to pay him $6.5 million.
No, I don't think Alabama would pay that. But, if you're Ty Simpson, do you make a choice? Look, Alabama means enough to me. I'll pass on an extra $3 million. I'll take $3.5 million. That's still a heck of a payday. But I applaud him to say, I'm not just going to grab money. I came to play football at Alabama and get to the NFL. I have done A. I am now going to go do B, and money is not going to change my goals. And honestly,
I think this will help him with general managers when he sits down with front office guys. I really do. I think they'll appreciate that.
And I would just say a lot of people, and this is, everybody's going to call me naive for saying this, and perhaps I am. I'm naive in a lot of things. If you're just doing it for the money, what does that look like? Like, you get my point, right? Like, we've all taken side gigs just for the money, and they're sometimes pretty miserable because you're like, I really didn't want to do this, but I did it for the money. Like, if his heart's in the NFL and he goes and plays a year at Miami just for the money, are you getting the best of Ty Simpson? If he's just doing it for the money, if it was just like, I really want to be in the NFL, but I can't say no to 6.5, are you getting the best Ty Simpson at Oxford or Coral Gables? I don't know the answer to that question, but I think it's a worthwhile question to ask.
But I also wonder if Alabama would have said, hey, look, we'll give you 6.5.
Yeah. And you don't have to even,
Yeah, and you keep your legacy and you stay here.
Yeah. I don't know, man. If your heart's in the NFL and that's all you've ever wanted to do, and I assume that for Ty, go to the NFL, man. We all know people. The better example would be y'all all know people that have taken a different job for a bigger paycheck, and they get to that different job and they're like, boy, I do not like this.
Yeah, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah,
I've done it. Was no fun when I moved from sports to news.
I do remember that, Jim. You were at 13. You were doing sports. You were one of the top sportscasters in Birmingham, and that was a crowded field at the time.
That was all I ever wanted to do was sports, and it was all about money when they put that number in front of me.
And as I remember it, they came to with a big payday, and they're like, listen, you're not going to be our hard news guy. You're going to do the cooking segment.
No, this was at 42 when I was the hard news guy. I was the main news anchor.
Oh, I thought this was at 13 when you moved to news.
No.
So this was at 42.
No, it happened to me twice. I didn't learn the first time.
You hit the portal twice.
Yeah, but I mean, it was significantly more money than I was making just being the sports guy. And it was all about the money. I was like, God, how can you turn that down?
Yeah, and then you.
I mean, it's what Ty's doing too. I mean, ultimately, he's not turning down NFL money. Like
No,
he
I mean,
feels like
Ty's-
he
gonna
is
land.
guaranteed in the first round.
Yeah,
That's why I was making good money and could have kept making good money doing the two jobs, and I chose the other and didn't like it 2 weeks in.
but then there's no going back.
I tried. They said no. That was Ty Simpson, man. And listen, I understand. I if I had tickets, I probably would sell them sometimes too to make money. And if I was Ty Simpson, I probably would have taken the $6.5 million. I've just told you, I like money. I chose twice to do something, even the second time, for more money. That's what makes this so admirable. Is I don't think I could have said no either time.
Oh, I think most people now look, $6.5 million to a lot of our audience is money they thought they would never see.
No, to
Ty-
me, yeah.
Yeah, but Ty Simpson thinks he's going to see $6.5 million whenever he hits the draft, and I mean, he'll make at least six. I don't know where he's going to be drafted, Lance, but he'll make at least $6.5
Well,
million.
And he put a little money in his pocket this year.
yeah,
too.
he's already made some at Tuscaloosa.
Again, if he goes 32, he's getting 13 and a half. At least that's the way it's slotted right now. So he just needs to go in the first round, and he's going to be fine. My question to you guys, I am fascinated to see what this Alabama offense looks like next year.
I am too.
Yeah.
And I know it's not whole yet. We don't know what that's going to look like. But if you guys are just taking a guess at the quarterback position,
Keelan
Russell.
Austin Mack believes he can be the guy,
Good,
though.
good.
Yeah.
That's good for everybody. And hey, if he goes and beats, I think this staff really likes Keelan Russell. If Austin Mack beats him, I would assume Austin Mack's had an excellent offseason.
You think either or? You think there's much of a drop off?
Yeah, I would tell you, to your point, we all did. I think Brown said it would be Mac Jones.
I did.
I think you and I said it would be Bryce Young.
Yeah.
And
Bryce Young's a better quarterback. But.
Yeah.
He was well.
Bryce Young waited a whole year.
One year
No,
was
the
an
one
incredible
year
year.
was the best year in Alabama football
No.
history.
I had just seen Mac Jones in those 4 games, and I'm like, and everybody focused on the 2 pick sixes against Auburn. Those are bad plays, obviously. One of them was kind of a quirky play. But I'm like, okay, that's 2 plays. The rest of the time, that guy looked fantastic.
Yeah. And so, I sit here and say Keelan Russell for the same reason I said Bryce Young. This guy's not going to sit around and wait.
Yeah.
But it may be Austin
And that was
Mack.
even a different time back then.
Yeah.
Well,
it may be Austin Mack, and he may be Mac Jones 2.0.
Could be.
You never
Which would
know.
be great.
Nobody thought Mac Jones was going to be Mac Jones 1.0.
Mac looks good every time I see him.
Well, I will say this, Lance, to answer your question in a different way. I think Alabama fans right now are far less concerned about what the difference in quarterback looks like and far more concerned about the difference in the run game.
Yeah.
They figure I can get closer to Ty Simpson. I got to figure out this run game.